ल साथीहरू पढौँ अब हामी फिक्जेटिभको बारेमा। फिक्जेटिभ Fixative, substance which will preserve after death the shape, structure, relationship and chemical constituent of tissue and cell is called fixative. Criteria of fixative. Number 1, it must kill the cell quickly with minimum distortion. It must penetrate the tissue and cell rapidly and evenly. It must render insoluble the substance of the cell. It must inhibit bacterial decay and autolysis. It must harden the tissue and render it insensitive to subsequent treatment. It must enable application of staining technique at later date. Now let us study about classification of fixative. Fixative are mainly classified into two groups. Number 1, simple fixative. Number 2, compound fixative. Now simple fixative. Simple fixative can be further classified as number 1, aldehyde. Under aldehyde we will study about formaldehyde and glutaraldehyde. Number 2, oxidizing agent. And the various oxidizing agent we use are osmium tetroxide, potassium permanganate and potassium dichromate. Next page. Number 3, protein denaturing agent, acetic acid, methyl alcohol, ethyl alcohol. Unknown mechanism. There are some of fixative whose mechanism of fixation are not known, and these are picric acid and mercury chloride. Now once again revise. Let us revise. Under simple fixative there are aldehyde, oxidizing agent, protein denaturing agent, and unknown mechanism. Simple fixative. Now compound fixative. Compound fixative. Compound fixative are made by combining two or more fixatives so that the disadvantage of one fixative could be reduced by the use of another fixative. Once again, compound fixatives are made by combining two or more fixatives so that the disadvantage of one fixative could be reduced by the use of another fixative. It is divided into three main groups. Number one, microanatomical fixative. Number two, cytological fixative. And number three, histochemical fixative. Compound fixative. Compound fixatives are mainly three types. Number one, microanatomical fixative. Number two, cytological fixative. Number three, histochemical fixative. Now let us study about microanatomical fixative. Microanatomical fixative. It preserves the various layers of tissue and cells. In relation to one another. Microanatomical fixative it preserves the various layers of tissue and cells in relation. It preserves the various layers of tissue and cell in relation to one another. The examples are various microanatomical fixative are 10% formal saline, 10% neutral buffered formalin, Heidenhaus, Sousa, formal sublimate, Jenker's fluid, Jenker's formal, Boyne's solution, and Grande's fluid. Now, cytological fixative. Cytological fixative preserves the constituent element of the cell. Cytological fixative preserves the constituent element of the cells. It is divided into two groups. Number one, nuclear fixative. Number two, cytoplasmic fixative. Number three, histochemical fixative. These are used to demonstrate chemical constituent of the cell like enzymes. Various histochemical fixatives are buffered formalin, cold acetone at 0 to 4 degrees Celsius for phosphate absolute, alcohol instead of buffer formalin, formal saline. Formal saline. Okay.